The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. One moment the skies were clear, and the next, a vessel larger than any human-made structure hung above the planet, its dark metal hull reflecting sunlight in strange patterns. Commander Alan Wright stood at the window of Earth Defense Force headquarters, his weathered face tight with concern. At 52, he had spent his life preparing for this moment, though many had called him paranoid. "Sir, we're getting communication requests from the vessel," said Lieutenant Diaz, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Put them through," Wright said, turning to face the large screen on the wall. The screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. The alien wore what appeared to be ceremonial robes with strange symbols across the chest. "People of Earth," the alien began, voice surprisingly smooth. "I am High Counselor Zexar of the Galactic Council. We represent over 300 spacefaring civilizations across this sector of the galaxy. We come in peace, seeking to welcome humanity into our community of worlds." Wright's eyes narrowed. 20 years in military intelligence had taught him to spot a liar, and something about Zexar's tone felt rehearsed. "This is Commander Alan Wright of Earth Defense Force. We are honored by your visit, but surprised by your sudden arrival. Our apologies," Zexar said with a gesture that might have been a bow. "We have been observing Earth for some time. Your recent achievements in faster-than-light communication made this the appropriate moment for first contact. Over the next few days, a delegation from the Galactic Council landed on Earth. World leaders gathered in New York for what many called the most important meeting in human history. Commander Wright was assigned to oversee security, while Ambassador Eric Sullivan, a shrewd former military strategist, led the diplomatic team. Dr. Olivia Martinez, the leading xenobiologist at MIT, was brought in to assist with understanding the visitors. She was a brilliant woman who had dedicated her life to preparing for alien contact, though the reality proved stranger than her theories. "Their biology is fascinating," Martinez told Wright during a break between meetings. Her dark eyes sparkled with excitement as she examined readings on her tablet. "They're carbon-based like us, but their cellular structure is completely different." Wright glanced around to ensure they wouldn't be overheard. "What's your assessment, Doctor? Are they being straight with us?" Martinez's enthusiasm dimmed. "Something's off. They've requested hundreds of medical samples from volunteers, but their collection methods seem excessive, and they're particularly interested in our genetic diversity." "Keep digging," Wright said quietly. "I'm setting up secure channels for us to communicate. Use this." He handed her a small device that looked like an ordinary phone. "Old tech. Nothing they'd recognize or monitor." In the main conference room, Ambassador Sullivan was engaged in discussions with 3 council representatives about trade agreements. "We can offer technological advancements beyond your current capabilities," said a green-skinned alien named Krell. "Faster-than-light travel, advanced medicine, clean energy solutions." "And what would you want in exchange?" Sullivan asked, his voice pleasant but eyes sharp. "Earth has abundant resources. Minerals, water, biological diversity," Krell replied. "Simple trade agreements allowing limited collection rights would suffice." Sullivan smiled politely. "We'll certainly consider reasonable exchanges, but Earth maintains sovereignty over its resources and people." That evening, Wright, Sullivan, and Martinez met in a secure room swept for listening devices. "They're hiding something," Wright said flatly. "Their ship positions suggest they have more vessels than they've admitted to." Sullivan nodded. "Their trade proposals are too generous on the surface, but the fine print would give them extensive rights to our resources with minimal oversight." Martinez pulled up images on her secure tablet. "Look at these. The medical examinations they're conducting are actually deep genetic sampling. They're particularly interested in our adaptive immune systems and brain structure." "Why?" Sullivan asked. "I'm not sure yet," Martinez admitted. "But I found references in their database to compatible physiology and integration potential." "Right. Stood, decision made." "I'm activating the Scorched Earth Protocol." Sullivan raised an eyebrow. "The President hasn't authorized that." "The President doesn't know about it," Wright replied grimly. It's a black budget project known only to a handful of people across 5 administrations. We've been preparing for this scenario since the Roswell incident. What exactly is this? Protocol? Martinez asked. Insurance, Wright said simply. If these negotiations go south, we need options. Over the next week, the council delegates presented themselves as friends and mentors to humanity. They attended concerts, visited schools, and appeared on talk shows. Public opinion was largely positive, though small protests occurred with signs, reading Earth First and No Alien Oversight. Behind the diplomatic smiles, Wright's team uncovered more troubling information. Council ships were scanning Earth's defenses and mapping resource deposits. Their medical teams were collecting far more samples than reported, and most concerning, large vessels were taking positions around the solar system. During the third week of negotiations, things changed. High Counselor Zexar requested a private meeting with world leaders. The Council has decided to accelerate Earth's integration, Zexar announced. We require immediate disarmament of all military forces and unrestricted access to Earth's resources. President Howard looked stunned. That wasn't what we discussed. We agreed to limited cooperation with gradual integration. Zexar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The Council has determined that humanity requires more direct guidance. Your species is too volatile to be trusted with weapons while joining the galactic community. Sullivan leaned forward. With respect, Counselor, Earth will maintain its sovereignty and defense capabilities. We're open to friendship, not submission. How unfortunate, Zexar said coldly. We had hoped for cooperation. The mood in the room shifted instantly. Guards who had appeared to be part of the Council delegation pulled out weapons. Wright reacted immediately, drawing his sidearm, but Zexar raised a hand. A force field suddenly surrounded the Earth delegates. Your primitive weapons cannot harm us, Zexar said. The Council has decided Earth's resources are too valuable to leave in the hands of an undeveloped species. You will submit, or we will take what we need by force. You planned this from the beginning, Wright said, anger evident in his voice. Of course, Zexar replied. Did you truly believe you were our equals? You are barely beyond using combustion engines. The Council has been harvesting resources from primitive worlds for millennia. President Howard stood tall despite the situation. Earth will never submit to invasion. You have no choice, Zexar said, turning to leave. Our ships are already in position. You have 6 hours to announce your surrender, or we begin planetary pacification. As soon as the Council members left, Wright activated his secure communicator. This is Commander Wright. Authorization code Sierra Echo Papa. Activate Scorched Earth Protocol immediately. Across the solar system, hidden facilities received the signal. On Earth's moon, deep under the surface of Mars, and in the ice of Europa, lights came on in bases unknown to the public. As the 6-hour deadline approached, the Council ships began, moving into attack positions. High Counselor Zexar sent a final message. Your time has expired, surrender now or face the consequences of your defiance. President Howard stood before the cameras, addressing not just Earth but the Council as well. People of Earth, today we face our greatest challenge. We extended friendship and received treachery in return. The Galactic Council has demanded our surrender and the right to strip our world of its resources. To this, we have a single answer. Earth will never bow to threats. The President looked directly into the camera, her eyes resolute. To the Galactic Council. You have gravely misjudged humanity. You should have studied our history more carefully. When threatened, we do not cower, we fight. As she finished speaking, the Council ships opened fire. Brilliant beams of energy struck major cities around the globe, devastating buildings and infrastructure. Millions died in the first hours of the attack. But even as Earth burned, Commander Wright sent a second signal, and humanity's hidden strength began to stir. The war for Earth had begun, and the Galactic Council was about to learn why threatening humanity was the worst mistake they could have made. Smoke filled the sky over what was once London. The alien attack had left the historic city in ruins. Major Samantha Kelly crouched behind a collapsed wall, watching an alien patrol move through the street. Her once crisp military uniform was now dirty and torn, but her resolve remained unbroken. "Report," she whispered into her old-style radio. The Council's advanced technology had disabled most modern communications, but older systems still worked. "East Sector clear," came the reply. "We found more survivors, bringing them to the underground." Kelly nodded to herself. 3 weeks had passed since the initial attack. 3 weeks of watching Earth's mighty armies fall before the Council's superior weapons. But humans were nothing if not adaptable. "Major, we've got something you need to see," said Private Cooper, a young soldier who had found Kelly after his unit was destroyed. She followed him through the rubble to a makeshift command center in an old subway tunnel. Maps covered the walls, marked, with alien positions and safe routes. Director Greg Patterson waited for her. Once the head of Earth's intelligence agency, he now ran the information network for the Resistance. His silver hair was messy, and his eyes showed his exhaustion. "We intercepted this," Patterson said, playing a recording on a jury-rigged computer. The blue face of General Vexthar, the Council military commander, filled the screen. "Harvesting facilities are at 60% capacity. Resistance remains problematic but manageable. Human adaptability was underestimated, but is not a significant threat. Begin Phase 2 in 3 days." "Phase 2?" Kelly asked. Patterson's face darkened. "Mass collection. They're going to round up more humans for whatever they're harvesting." "We need to know what they're planning," Kelly said. "Any word from our inside sources?" Dr. Martinez managed to send this before her location went dark. Patterson handed Kelly a small data device. The message was brief. "They're taking our DNA, our stem cells, using them somehow. Wright is alive, hiding. Sullivan captured. Need to reach Europa facility." "Europa?" Kelly asked. Patterson lowered his voice. "Part of Wright's scorched earth protocol. There's supposedly a secret base there, but with all Council ships in orbit, there's no way to reach it." Their conversation was interrupted by a young man with grease-stained hands. Kyle Donovan had been an engineer at MIT before the invasion. Now he was the Resistance's best hope for counter-technology. "I've got something," Donovan said, his eyes bright with excitement despite the dark circles under them. "I took apart that alien shield generator we captured. There's a flaw in the modulation. If we hit it with a specific electromagnetic pulse, we can create a 3-second window of failure." Kelly studied the rough diagram he'd drawn. 3 seconds. Isn't much. "It's enough to get a shot through," Donovan replied. "Enough to start making a difference." "Get this to all Resistance cells," Kelly ordered. "And Kyle, we need communication with the Europa facility. Any ideas?" Donovan scratched, his unshaven chin. "Maybe. The Council ships jam all our modern signals, but they might not look for something really primitive, like extremely low-frequency radio waves, old submarine communication tech." "Make it happen," Kelly said. Across the Atlantic, in the ruins of Chicago, Commander Wright moved through the shadows of destroyed buildings. He had barely escaped New York after the attack began. Now he led a small team gathering intelligence on the alien harvesting facility that had been built where downtown Chicago once stood. Through binoculars, Wright watched humans being marched into the massive structure. Few came out. "Sir," whispered Lieutenant Rodriguez, pointing to the sky. A small ship was landing near the facility. When the ramp lowered, Wright recognized Ambassador Sullivan, now in restraints, being led by alien guards. "They're bringing him here," Wright muttered. "Why?" "Look, at that insignia," Rodriguez said. "That's General Vexthar's ship." Wright's jaw tightened. Vexthar was known for his cruelty toward captured humans. The Council military commander had personally overseen the destruction of Washington, D.C. "Change of plans," Wright said. "We're going in tonight." Inside the harvesting facility, Sullivan stood before General Vexthar. The alien was tall and muscular, with gray skin and 6 yellow eyes arranged in a circle on his face. "Ambassador Sullivan," Vexthar said, his voice deep and rumbling. "Your defiance is noted but pointless. Your military is crushed. Your leaders are dead or in hiding. Surrender is the only logical option. Sullivan, despite his bruised face and tattered clothes, stood straight. If you understood humans at all, you'd know we don't surrender. Your species had such potential, Vexthar said, walking around Sullivan. Your genetic adaptability is remarkable. So many environments on one planet producing such diversity. The Council will put that to good use. What exactly are you doing with the people you take? Sullivan asked, trying to keep the alien talking. Your genetic material offers solutions to problems my species has faced for centuries, Vexthar replied. Your immune systems, your adaptability genes, your neural structure, all valuable resources to harvest and incorporate. Sullivan's eyes widened in understanding. You're not just taking resources, you're taking our DNA. Precisely, Vexthar said. The Council has done this many times. Find a promising pre-interstellar species, harvest their best genetic traits, then leave their planet a barren rock. You've made a mistake, Sullivan said quietly. Vexthar laughed, a harsh sound. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our technology. Your most advanced fighter jets were swatted from the sky like insects. Sullivan smiled slightly. I didn't say you made a military mistake. I said you made a mistake choosing Earth. You should have killed us all when you had the chance. Before Vexthar could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Outside, Kelly's resistance team had put Donovan's discovery to use. Their improvised EMP devices created brief windows in the alien shields, allowing precisely timed explosives to breach the outer walls of the facility. Team 1, secure the east entrance, Kelly ordered through her radio. Team 2, with me, we're getting our people out. Inside, chaos erupted as humans being held in the facility realized what was happening. Many seized the opportunity to fight back against their guards. Wright's team, approaching from the opposite side, used the confusion to infiltrate deeper into the structure. Commander, Rodriguez said, pointing to a map they'd found. They're keeping high-value prisoners on sub-level 3. Wright nodded. That's where Sullivan will be. As they made their way down, they encountered Dr. Martinez, who had been captured 2 days earlier and brought to the facility. Alan, she said with relief. They're performing horrible experiments here, using our genetic material to enhance their own species. We'll shut it down, Wright promised. But first we need to get Sullivan. They found the ambassador in a confrontation with General Vexthar. As Wright's team burst in, weapons raised, Vexthar drew back in surprise. Impossible, the alien commander said. Our forces controlled this facility completely. You keep underestimating us, Wright said. That's going to be your downfall. Vexthar reached for a weapon, but Sullivan, despite his restraints, tackled the alien. In the struggle, Sullivan managed to grab Vexthar's sidearm and fired point-blank into the alien's central eye. As alarms continued to blare, Wright helped Sullivan to his feet. We need to move. Kelly's team is creating a diversion on the surface. Wait, Martinez said, moving to a computer terminal. I need 1 minute, their network is open. Her fingers flew across the alien interface she had studied during her captivity, sending all their research data to our secure channels, and, she smiled grimly, setting their containment systems to fail in 10 minutes. What does that mean? Sullivan asked. It means this entire facility will destroy itself, Martinez said, along with all their genetic harvesting research. As they escaped amid the growing chaos, Wright received a message on his old tech communicator. It was brief but changed everything. Europa online. Waiting for your signal. For the first time since the invasion began, Wright allowed himself a smile. Phase 1 of the Scorched Earth Protocol was complete. Earth had fallen, but humanity was far from defeated, and the Galactic Council's true education about humans was about to begin. Deep beneath the icy surface of Europa, Jupiter's moon, Captain Jack Reynolds stood in the command center of humanity's most closely guarded secret. The massive underground facility stretched for miles, hidden from detection for decades. Status. Report, Reynolds ordered, his voice echoing in the cavernous room. Lieutenant Farrell looked up from her console. Commander Wright's signal confirmed, sir. Earth resistance successfully hit the Chicago harvesting facility. Reynolds nodded. At 45, he had spent half his life preparing for this moment. The Europa base had been built in secret through international cooperation, funded by black budgets across multiple administrations. "Begin warming up the fleet," Reynolds ordered, "and get Dr. Weber to the command center." Screens around the room displayed feeds from hidden cameras across Earth. The planet was barely recognizable. Most major cities lay in ruins, alien harvesting. Facilities rose like dark monuments to human suffering, and council ships patrolled the skies. But the aliens had missed something crucial about humanity. They were at their most dangerous when cornered. Dr. Lauren Weber arrived minutes later. The weapons developer had brilliant eyes and a determined expression that hadn't wavered even during the darkest days after the invasion. "Captain," she said, "the adaptive weapon systems are ready for deployment. Final tests exceed expectations." Reynolds smiled grimly. "Show me." Weber activated a holographic display in the center of the room. It showed a simulation of council ships in orbit around Earth. "Standard weapons bounce off their shields," Weber explained. "But our new systems learn from each hit. Each shot recalibrates to find weaknesses." The simulation showed Earth weapons firing, initially deflected by alien shields. But with each volley, more shots penetrated until finally the council ships began to explode. "How soon can we deploy?" Reynolds asked. "The modifications can be transmitted to any existing Earth weapon systems," Weber said. "As for our fleet here," she gestured to another screen showing rows of sleek spacecraft in massive hangars. "They're already equipped." Reynolds turned to his communications officer. "Send the signal to Admiral Foster. Tell him it's time." On the dark side of Earth's moon, another secret stirred to life. Admiral Ben Foster stood in the command center of Luna Base as lights activated around him, illuminating a fleet of ships that had been hidden from both Earth and the Council. "Admiral," his second-in-command said, "we have confirmation from Europa. The counterattack begins in 24 hours. Foster nodded, studying the tactical display. For decades, Earth governments had secretly prepared for this scenario. When the first alien artifacts were discovered in the 1950s, a small group of visionaries realized that humanity needed insurance against possible hostile contact. "Alert all commanders," Foster ordered, "and prepare the jump drives." On Earth, the Council remained confident in their victory. In the orbiting command ship, High Counselor Zexar received reports from General Vexthar. The Chicago facility suffered damage, Vexthar admitted. But human resistance is scattered and poorly equipped. They pose no significant threat. "Nevertheless," Zexar said, "accelerate the harvesting schedule. I want this planet stripped of useful resources within 6 months." "There's something else," Vexthar added. "We've detected unusual energy readings from Europa." "Europa?" Zexar seemed puzzled. "Our initial scans showed no human presence there." "The readings appeared suddenly," Vexthar explained, "as if something was activated." "Send a scout ship," Zexar ordered. "It's probably just natural radiation from Jupiter." The Council's arrogance was their weakness. They couldn't imagine that humans had prepared so thoroughly for their arrival. In a former subway tunnel beneath Paris, Major Kelly met with Kyle Donovan, who had continued improving his understanding of alien technology. "It works," Donovan said excitedly, showing her a modified weapon. "I've incorporated the shield weakness into our rifles. We can now penetrate their armor with every shot." Kelly took the weapon, testing its weight. "How many can you make?" "With the underground factories in motion, thousands within days," Donovan replied. "And I've transmitted the specifications to other resistance cells globally." Their conversation was interrupted when Director Patterson rushed in, his face showing rare excitement. "We've received a transmission," Patterson said. "Encrypted on the old submarine channels like you suggested, Kyle. It came from space." Kelly's eyes widened. "What did it say?" "2 words," Patterson replied. "Stand ready." The Council scout ship approached Europa cautiously. Inside, Junior Observer Clarax watched the readings with growing concern. Clarax was young for a Council member, and unlike many of his peers, he had questioned the invasion of Earth. The brutality shown toward humans troubled him deeply. "Captain," he said to the ship's commander, "I'm detecting massive energy signatures beneath the surface." The captain frowned. "Impossible. Our initial surveys—" He never finished his sentence. From beneath Europa's icy surface, a beam of energy shot upward, cutting the scout ship in half. Clarax barely had time to reach an escape pod before the vessel disintegrated. As his pod tumbled through space, he saw something that chilled him to his core. The ice of Europa was cracking open, and ships, human ships, were emerging. Back in the Europa facility, Captain Reynolds watched the destruction of the scout ship with satisfaction. "They know we're here now," he said. "No more hiding." Dr. Weber approached with a tablet. "Captain, we've received confirmation from Admiral Foster. Luna Base is ready, and Earth resistance units are standing by." Reynolds turned to his crew. "This is what we've prepared for. Humanity has been pushed to the brink, but we're pushing back. Today we show the Council that choosing Earth as a target was the biggest mistake in their history." He activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands to battle stations. Launch sequence initiated." Throughout the facility, crews rushed to their ships. The hangar doors fully opened, revealing Europa's airless surface and the star-filled sky beyond. One by one, the hidden fleet of Earth vessels emerged. Ships built using technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien craft recovered over decades, combined with humanity's own innovative designs. On the Council command ship, alarms blared as sensors detected the emerging fleet. "High Counselor," a technician called out. "Multiple ships detected launching from Europa." Zexar rushed to the viewscreen, his 4 eyes widening in shock. "Impossible. They have no space fleet." "Sir," another officer reported, "we're detecting more launches from Earth's moon." Before Zexar could respond, the first hits came. Admiral Foster's lunar fleet had jumped into position around Earth and opened fire on the Council ships. Their weapons, enhanced with Dr. Weber's adaptive technology, cut through the previously impenetrable shields. On Earth, the resistance moved simultaneously. Major Kelly led her forces against the Paris harvesting facility. Kyle Donovan's modified weapons made short work of the alien guards. Director Patterson coordinated a global communication network, linking resistance cells worldwide for synchronized attacks on alien installations. In what remained of New York, Commander Wright and Dr. Martinez led another team to liberate a detention center. Ambassador Sullivan, now recovered from his captivity, coordinated between military and civilian leadership. The Council ships, caught by surprise, scrambled to respond. But their usual tactics failed against the human vessels, which seemed to adapt to each counterattack. On the command ship, Zexar watched in disbelief as his fleet suffered unprecedented losses. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They were barely interplanetary. They had no defense against our technology." "Sir," his science officer said shakily, "analysis indicates their weapons are based on our own designs, but improved. They've been studying us." "For how long?" Zexar asked. "Based on the level of advancement." "Decades, at least." The realization struck Zexar like a physical blow. They knew we were coming. They've been preparing all this time. As if confirming his words, a transmission cut through their communications. Captain Reynolds' face appeared on the main screen. "High Counselor Zexar," Reynolds said, his voice calm but firm. "This is Captain Jack Reynolds of Earth Defense Force. Your invasion of our world was a mistake. Your assessment of our capabilities was flawed." "This is impossible," Zexar sputtered. "You were pre-interstellar." Reynolds smiled coldly. "We let you believe that, just as we let you believe your arrival was a surprise. The truth is, we've known about the Council for generations. Every ship you lost in this sector over the past 70 years, we recovered them, studied them, improved upon them." In that moment, Zexar understood the true extent of the Council's miscalculation. They had not found an easy target. They had awakened a sleeping giant, and Earth's counterattack was just beginning. 2 weeks after Earth's hidden fleets emerged, the tide of war had shifted dramatically. Council ships burned in orbit, their once superior technology now failing against humanity's adaptive weapons. Admiral Natalie Franklin stood on the bridge of the EDF Defiance, the largest vessel in Earth's fleet. A tactical genius with calm eyes and a reputation for bold strategies, Franklin had been chosen to lead the most daring mission of the counterattack. "Status report," she ordered, studying the holographic display showing their position at the edge of the solar system. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her executive officer replied. "Jump drives charged. The Nova Protocol is loaded in all vessels." Franklin nodded. The Nova Protocol, developed by Chief Scientist Paul Harper, was humanity's secret weapon. It would disable any Council ships faster than light capabilities, trapping them in normal space. "Signal the fleet," Franklin said. "We jump in 5 minutes." Meanwhile, on Earth, President Michelle Garcia emerged from the secure underground facility where world leaders had sheltered during the initial invasion. The bunker, built inside a mountain, had protected Earth's government while allowing them to coordinate the resistance. Garcia stood before cameras broadcasting to resistance-controlled communication networks worldwide. Despite the hardships of recent months, she maintained a determined expression that inspired confidence. "People of Earth," she began, "today marks a turning point in our fight against the Council invasion. For decades, Earth has prepared for this moment. While we presented ourselves as a developing civilization, our greatest minds were building the means to defend our world. Across the planet, humans gathered around screens to watch, in the ruins of cities, in underground shelters, in resistance bases. Hope was returning. The Council thought they found an easy target," Garcia continued. "Instead, they awakened humanity's greatest strength, our refusal to surrender. Our hidden fleets have turned the tide. Our ground forces have liberated cities. And now we take the fight to the enemy." In space, Admiral Franklin's fleet prepared to jump. On her command, 50 Earth vessels activated their drives, disappearing from the solar system in flashes of light. They reappeared near Vexthar's remaining forces, which had retreated to a Council staging area 2 light-years from Earth. The Council ships, caught completely by surprise, had no time to react before the Nova Protocol activated. A pulse of energy spread from the Earth ships, washing over the Council vessels. Immediately their engines sputtered and failed, leaving them stranded. "All ships commence attack," Franklin ordered. No mercy for those who showed none to Earth. The battle was swift and decisive. Council ships, unable to escape or effectively defend themselves, were systematically destroyed. General Vexthar's command vessel was among the last to fall. As Earth forces secured the staging area, they discovered something unexpected: several planets inhabited by species that had also been victimized by the Council. These beings had been forced to serve as labor for Council operations. "Admiral," a communications officer called out, "we're receiving messages from the planets below. They're asking if we've come to free them." Franklin's expression softened. "Tell them Earth stands with all who suffer under Council oppression." Back on Earth, Commander Wright and Dr. Martinez had infiltrated the Council's central database in their primary harvesting facility. With access codes provided by Clerax, who had defected to humanity after witnessing Council atrocities, they downloaded the complete archives of Council activities. "My God," Martinez whispered as data flowed across her screen. "They've done this to dozens of worlds, stripped them of resources, harvested their populations for genetic material." Wright's face hardened. "Send everything to President Garcia. The galaxy needs to know what the Council has been doing." In orbit above Earth, High Counselor Zexar's command ship was one of the few Council vessels still intact, though heavily damaged and surrounded by Earth forces. Inside, Zexar received the news of Vexthar's defeat with stunned disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "A pre-interstellar species cannot defeat the Council. We have ruled this sector for millennia." His remaining officers exchanged nervous glances. One finally spoke up. "High Counselor, humans have captured our staging area. They've disabled our jump drives. And now..." "Now what?" Zexar demanded. "They're transmitting our database to all worlds in the Council. Our harvesting programs, our subjugation protocols, everything is being exposed. Before Zexar could respond, a transmission cut through their systems. Ambassador Sullivan appeared on the screen, looking vastly different from the diplomat who had first greeted the council. His eyes were hard, his posture that of a warrior rather than a negotiator. "High Counselor Zexar," Sullivan said, "this is Ambassador Sullivan of Earth. Your forces have been defeated, your crimes have been exposed to the galaxy, and now you will answer for what you've done." Zexar tried to maintain his dignity. "The Council does not answer to primitive species. We have 300 member worlds. This defeat is temporary." Sullivan smiled coldly. "Is it? Right now Admiral Franklin is leading our fleet to the Council homeworld, and she's not alone." The feed switched to show Earth ships appearing near the Council capital planet. But they weren't alone. Vessels from other species, former victims of Council harvesting, had joined them. "You see," Sullivan continued, "once we revealed what you've been doing, your former victims were eager to join our cause. Your 300 worlds? Many are already in open rebellion." On the Council homeworld, panic spread as Earth ships and their allies took up positions around the planet. The ruling Council members who had authorized countless harvesting operations now faced justice. Chief Scientist Paul Harper, aboard the lead ship with Admiral Franklin, activated the final phase of the Nova Protocol. The pulse disabled not just the Council's ships but their orbital defense systems as well. "All forces," Franklin ordered, "commence the final operation." Earth Marines, led by Major Kelly, landed at the Council's central government complex. Unlike the Council, they didn't target civilians or destroy cities. Their only objective was the ruling elite who had ordered the harvesting of countless worlds. In a final confrontation in the Council chambers, Zexar was brought before Earth representatives and leaders from other victimized species. "You have lost," Sullivan told him. "Earth doesn't just fight for itself. We fight for all who suffer under tyranny." President Garcia addressed the gathered representatives via transmission. "Today marks a new beginning for this galaxy. The Council's reign of exploitation ends. In its place, we propose an alliance of equals, where no species preys upon another, where technology is shared, not used for domination." The chamber erupted in support from the former Council victims. Many had suffered for generations under Council rule, their resources stripped, their people harvested. One by one, representatives of different species approached Sullivan, offering alliances with Earth. Humanity in just weeks had done what none had managed in centuries, broken the Council's grip on the galaxy. 3 months later, the former Council chambers had been transformed. Where once a small elite had ruled through fear, now representatives from dozens of species gathered as equals. Earth, once considered primitive, now held a position of leadership. Commander Wright, now Admiral Wright, stood with Dr. Martinez and Ambassador Sullivan as President Garcia took her place at the new alliance table. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when you activated the Scorched Earth Protocol?" Martinez asked quietly. Wright shook his head. "I hoped we would survive. I never dreamed we would thrive." Sullivan smiled. "The Council made one fundamental error. They judged us by our apparent technology, not by our spirit. They never understood what humanity does when threatened." "We unite," President Garcia said, joining their conversation. "And we fight back." As the new Galactic Alliance formalized its charter, a simple truth echoed through the chambers. The Council had sought to harvest Earth's resources, to strip it of what made humans unique. Instead, they had discovered why, throughout history, those who underestimated humanity's resolve had always paid the ultimate price. Earth's counterattack hadn't just saved humanity, it had liberated a galaxy.